creepy and awful, and I loved it. So
She was like a spider figure.
yeah, so it was really, really cool. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. We are doing a review for the new Netflix series, Avatar the Last Airbender. It is a live-action adaptation to the original Nickelodeon cartoon Western anime, Avatar the Last Airbender, and this was a very interesting live-action adaptation. I found at times that it was really cool, but overall, I think that it fell flat in a lot of places, and that was kind of really disappointing because this is such a beloved series, especially the cartoon. And I know that Anthony hasn't had any experience with Avatar before this, so this was his first thing.
No, I haven't had any experience with this. And going into this as a first-time viewer, I thought there was a lot of issues with this show, but we'll go into that later in the episode here.
Yeah. So before we get into it too deep, let's just remind you guys, hit that like and subscribe button down below. Go follow us on Instagram and Twitter and be a part of our community. Also, go to patreon.com/CalvinCan. Join one of our 3 tiers. Help us out. Get bigger and better. Okay, so let's get back into it. We starting off strong with the first episode. I think that the opening sequence of the first episode kind of sets the tone of the whole show, and I think that the earth or the bending elements are pretty cool, and I think they're pretty well done overall, but I will say there are a lot of really inconsistencies compared to the cartoon, and I'm a hardcore fan of the original, and as if anybody has seen Avatar the Last Airbender, the cartoon on Nickelodeon, I think that pretty much everybody I've talked to holds it as a masterpiece. Through and through, it is a 10 out of 10 show, 5 out of 5, whatever you want to rate it. Everybody praises it so highly, and it's worth it. And if you haven't seen it, it's probably one of the greatest pieces of fiction ever created. So I think that, that being said, this had a lot to live up to, and it didn't do it. And I feel like this show tried to play it safe in places. I know this is probably not going to make sense to you, Anthony, but this show probably tried to play it safe in a lot of circumstances with dialogue and narration and just certain elements, trying to be pretty precise with the anime. Now, it wasn't shot for shot, but there are a lot of sequences where the acting and the actors were good, but their delivery of lines was very formulaic. It was very dead almost. It was like you're watching a play. And and I felt like maybe it's the dialogue, the writing, bad writing, bad dialogue.
Yeah, going into this, the show started off strong. We have a good opening with the character. I don't know the character's name, but he's escaping with the scroll because the Fire Nation is going to attack every realm. And it started off strong with the visual effects. Visual effects in this show are actually really good. I like how the bending is portrayed. I like the shot sequencing, but I felt like the first episode was kind of strong, and then after that episode, it got really slow. The pacing was too fast, and it was just there was no grounding for this show on these characters. I thought the dialogue was pretty poor. I thought just overall poor writing, I thought, and it was just the pacing was just too fast.
Yeah, and that's totally what this show falls victim to. This is kind of one of those circumstances where it's we didn't really need this. I feel like the show, the series, the original series is beloved so much that this is kind of in that realm of unnecessary adaptations, because I think that a lot of animated pieces shouldn't be adapted into live action because there's no need to. And I think that people need to get over the fact that animation is not just for kids. Like people need to really like open up to these stories being told in different forms of media. And like people like, I mean, I know tons of people who bash on watching cartoons, and I'm just like, I think you're looking at it from the wrong standpoint, and like you don't know how deep an animated piece of work can actually go. I mean, look at Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse, those critically acclaimed Oscar winning movies. I mean, I'm guarantee Oscar winning for Across the Spider-Verse, but we know Into the Spider-Verse won an Oscar, and we know that these movies hold like a lot of weight. And I just feel like we've seen a lot of bad adaptations in the past for a lot of different medias, of video games, books, but like cartoons is one of those things. It's like it's already a form of entertainment, watchable entertainment, and I don't understand why you would necessarily need to see a live action. But I think that coming into a new generation in time, this is kind of what people want. This is kind of what kids want. One Piece did really well. And the One Piece anime is fantastic, and so this is another Netflix recreation of that original media, and I just think that they play it again. They just play it too safe. Now, I will say the actors themselves. I think the cast was pretty good. I'll say that. I think that I like the Dallas Liu who plays Zuko, and of course Daniel Day Kim playing Firelord Ozai is amazing. Because I think that he's just a fantastic actor. Ever since I watched Lost, that was the first show that I ever saw him in, and then ever since then, whenever I see him, I'm like, this guy is like an amazing actor. So.
Yeah, I thought the cast was good in this. I thought the child actors did a really good job. Like Gordon Cormier that played Aang, I thought he did a pretty good job. And the actors were okay. It's just like I just felt like the show just was all over the place. Like it wasn't grounded and all that.
I'm sure it's probably hard to follow too, since you don't know like anything about, because you get 3 whole seasons of the cartoon, and then this kind of like you get probably like half of that in this season. So it moves a little quick. And I think that it's easy to get lost, especially if you're new to the world and you don't know what's going on. Because I feel like they expected you to know exactly what you're getting into, and they just don't do a good job of like fleshing things out a lot. And it's, I'm kind of disappointed with it. As a true fan, and like as somebody who holds it that high, I am disappointed with it. But I'm not deterring you from watching this show. I think that you should check it out for yourself and form your own opinions. Just because just because I don't like it doesn't mean that a newcomer wouldn't like it. I know plenty of kids in my life that would actually love this. And overall, I just think that I'm curious to see where they'll go in the future. But this was kind of a failed attempt.
Yeah, it looks like it's heading into another season, just the way it ended. So
I'm sure it will. I mean, because the cartoon's a complete series, so like it has a definitive beginning and ending, as well as a continuation cartoon later. But I think that I'm just curious. Now I'll talk about some positive things in this. Like I know that I've kind of been like bashing on it a little bit, but positive things like I said, these actors, I think they were perfectly casted. Most of them are perfectly casted. The bending is great. I think that the visual effects for the bending is pretty damn good. I know that they used a buttload of CGI in this, like for scale and purpose of recreating this world into live action. There are the Appa. I thought Appa looked great. I thought that the face stealing spirit of the forest was creepy and awful, and I loved it. So
She was like a spider figure.
yeah, so it was really, really cool. There are certain relationships in this show that I enjoyed a lot, like Uncle Iroh and Zuko's relationship. I always loved it in the cartoon. I thought that it was pretty well done being portrayed into live action, and I thought that Paul Sun-hyung Lee, who plays Uncle Iroh, I love him from Kim's Convenience, so I think that he did a really great job.
Yeah, I thought his acting was really good.
And he has some big shoes to fill because Uncle Iroh's voice actor is just one for the ages. So I think that besides that, there was a few other like little, I said, set elements that I liked. It just really felt like this world was actually something.
Yeah,
So-
I was about to say, I really did get sucked into the aesthetic. Like the aesthetic in the show, it's great. Like the costume design, the look of the show, just the visual effects that go alongside the aesthetic. Like that part of it was really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So overall, let's just get into our reviews for it. As a newcomer into the series, what would you give this?
Well, like I said, I had mixed feelings about it going into it since I hadn't seen any of the animated versions of this. I'm gonna give this show a 3. I thought, like I said earlier, like I talked about in the episode, I thought that the pacing was really, really poor, and I thought it was really fast paced. Like there's no grounding to the characters. Like you're going from one scene to the next, and you're switching like all the time. So it's kind of like it throws you off as the viewer of trying to get into this story. So I thought the pacing was bad. Just poor writing. Like they could have done better. They could have done better with the writing. But aesthetically, getting into this, it was beautiful. The cinematography, the visual effects, alongside of keeping you engaged in this universe, that was brilliant. But other than that, I just wish it was just more grounded, like longer per episode, maybe breaking it down per character in each story, getting some more backstory about maybe all the benders and everything about the universe going into it. Like I thought it was just too fast. So it's a 3.
Okay. And as somebody who's a big fan of the show, of the series, I will give this also a 3. I think that and that's being generous. I just, not to reiterate anything, but pretty much all the story elements that you said stand. And I think that what really, really sucks is the fact that they did play it too safe with this. Because as much as I want to see shot for shot of something, I also don't, because it's like, why wouldn't I just watch the original material? In fact, there was a point where me and my wife were watching the show, and we were just like, she's just as big of a fan as me, and so she was just like, this just makes me want to watch the cartoon. And I was like, yeah, like pretty much, like I was ready to turn it off like after episode 2 and just like watch the cartoon because it's that much better. But yeah, it's just, I think a 3 out of 5 is a solid score. They really, you see the effort, you see what they're going for, and it's not terrible, but it's not, I'll probably never watch it again. I probably would just watch the cartoon, honestly. So
yeah, if I go back to the series, I'm definitely just gonna stick with the anime.
Yeah.
It just, like I said, it feels like it should have had more engagement with the visual effects, and the story should have been more compelling. Like that's where it really falls.
Yeah. All right. So that is our review for Avatar the Last Airbender from Netflix. And I have some trivia for it. Okay.
Trivia or fun facts?
Or fun facts. I always say because it's worded trivia.
Yeah, it does say that on IMDb.
Yeah. The creators of the original animated series, Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, were originally hired as executive producers and showrunners. Unfortunately, the pair felt that Netflix did not follow through on their promises to support their vision for this retelling of and decided to leave the project. This is a fact that I knew a while back, and this was what really actually turned me off of this show going into it, because I was like, it's not going to be what we want. As Avatar fans, it's not going to be what we want. Next fact, Daniel Day Kim previously did an episode of the original animated series voicing General Fong in the season 2 episode, The Avatar State. He also did 7 episodes of Legend of Korra voicing Hiroshi Sato, which is awesome.
I was about to say, Legend of Korra is another Nickelodeon show that's got high praised show.
Yeah, it's the continuation of the original Avatar the Last Airbender show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, James Tsai, the original voice of the Cabbage Merchant in the animated series, also plays the Cabbage Merchant in 2 episodes of the live-action adaptation, which is awesome. Gordon Cormier, who plays Aang, was born after the original series ended. Wow. He's a young man. I mean, the show came back when I was a kid, so like it's an older cartoon, but it's one of the best, and it's a great Western anime. So in season 1, episode 2, the scene where the trio are on Kyoshi Island and Aang is riding on his airball around, then smacking into the statue, is a reference to the original series intro. So, first TV show from Nickelodeon Productions to be rated TV-14. So that's cool. And let's see. When Sokka calls Momo drumstick, that is a reference to when the trio first interacted with Momo in the original series Avatar the Last Airbender in 2005. So, show creators Albert Kim stated that he purposely didn't watch the previous live-action adaptation of Avatar the Last Airbender, the much hated The Last Airbender from 2010 by M. Night Shyamalan, saying that he wasn't interested in correcting the mistakes that version had made. And yes, that is one of the worst movies ever created.
I was about to say, I know there was a movie adaptation for the series too as well.
Yeah, so we don't talk about it. We try to forget that it ever existed. It's like probably one of the worst movies ever made. And it sucks because I love M. Night Shyamalan, and him as a director, he's just such a hit and miss director. But when he hits, but I know that wasn't completely his fault, and that was also a lot of studio decisions. That's my defense for him. But yes, I think that we just don't talk about it. But that's all the fun facts that we have for you today. Thank you for watching this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you guys on the next episode. Thanks for watching.
Thank you all so much for tuning into the Calvin Cam podcast. We appreciate you all so very, very much. And if you like us, hit that like and subscribe button down below. It really helps us out, as well as you can go over to our social media platforms like Instagram or X and follow us over there. We like to communicate and build our community up, as well as you could also go to patreon.com/thecalvincam and join one of our 3 tiers that we offer. We offer a couple of different benefits per tier, and it's good stuff, and it would really, really help us, and we'd really appreciate it, of course. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you later.